Hey, what's going on? Hey, listen, I wanted to do a mock draft with trades. I was trying to decide whether to do this after the combine or prior to the combine. I think I'm just going to do both. Seeing as though, you know, there's a lot more trades, especially as far as quarterbacks are concerned, that's happening this year. So I think it's a good idea to try to keep abreast of them as much as possible. So I decided I'm gonna go ahead and put one out before, then I'll do my other one not soon after the combine concludes. If you watched any of my videos, you know I like to jump straight into it. If you please wouldn't mind, like, share, and subscribe, it'll be much appreciated. Now, again, this will be with trades, mostly quarterbacks. Uh, so jumping straight into it, Evan Neal, Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton. That's how I see it. That's how about how most people see it. Could be some altering. I suspect that the first two picks are pretty much a go. If anything happens different within the first two picks, I'll be pretty surprised. Maybe Hamilton can go at number two. I'm not sure if they would want to do something like that. I don't even think they'll know what to do with him. I don't think they. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't think that the Lions are that. I don't want to say savvy, but their coaching is pretty standard. So doing something like that may not be the best idea for them. Kyle Hamilton brings a lot of athleticism to Houston, so they need that in general. So then you got number four, you got Ikem, book and tackle to go along with Beckham, protect that young quarterback. Number five, you got Thibodeau. Like I said in the Todd McShay mock draft, and I have it. I have also have that pick in my other mock draft. This is about where I see him. You know, he was between here and three and five, where most people saw him. I see him here. I think it's a good fit, good scheme, right team, the whole nine. Number six. Now, this is a trade. Obviously, this is normally, as you can see, it's Carolina's pick. I suspect that Carolina may trade for Deshaun Watson here within the near future. They have some of the capital. There's some other teams that could um, try to. Even Washington is a player in the Deshaun Watson situation, but I just feel like he wants to go to Carolina. Carolina wants him. Haven't really heard him talk much about going to Washington. I don't even know if he would like that. That team, especially with the ownership and those types of things, but the coaching is fantastic. The team is ready to win. So from that standpoint, I think maybe Washington might be the best fit, but it seems like he's very interested in going to Carolina. And depending on how soon they can get him in there, they can start, drafting around him and different things like that. Going in free agency, starting to build around him. Who knows what Carolina can really do? They never really had a quarterback good enough to do much of anything in Carolina. So, even though I am a big fan of Teddy Bridgewater, but not definitely not quite the level of Deshaun Watson. But nevertheless, got Malik Willis here. They need a quarterback. I also have them. I also think a good idea may be to trade for a guy like Nick Foles. But merely as a backup, Nick Foles will come in there with some vigor because I think he would think that he could start there fairly early. So you might get a good Nick Foles, you know what I mean, or a vibrant Nick Foles, so to speak. So got a guy there you can transition with. Mills, very good quarterback, especially when you're talking about backup quarterbacks. I really like him. Really like what he did last year. Like him as a player. Like him coming out of college. So next you got the seventh pick, Charles Cross. They need offensive line help badly. They need line help in general. So the offensive line is a must. It's really a must. They could go a couple more ways. They could, I could even see them trading this pick. Quite frankly, I could definitely see them trading this pick. Like I said, I'm not a big believer in Daniel Jones. I guess they think Dayball can do something with him, but I'm not particularly sure about that. I also think the Giants should pick up Mitchell Trubisky. Played with Dayball last year. Seemed to be growing in that system with Dayball. So have him go there now. A pick like Charles Cross makes a lot of sense. Have Cross, got to get a guy like Trubisky on your because I think Trubisky can. I think if you're talking about Daniel Jones and Trubisky, I like Trubisky a bit more. I truly do. I think he's just a better all around quarterback. I think Daniel Jones has more physical tools, but when you're talking about pure arm, I think Trubisky kind of edges Daniel Jones out in that way. Derek Stingley, number 8, get him some back end help. They really need to show up that other cornerback spot with the pieces they have there now. Get a little bit more talented in the defensive backfield. Could go linebacker here. They making some moves at linebacker and defense in general. They need it all line every level. So Stingley right here, good value, the whole nine. Now right here, you got a Green Bay pick. This is a trade with Denver Broncos, obviously for Aaron Aaron Rodgers. Almost called him Don. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson. Get him a weapon. Get Love a weapon. Young quarterback. I think that's the move right now these days to get these young quarterbacks some weapons, especially with the whole Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow situation. Now keep in mind that they played together at the college level, so they had some rapport already. So I don't think everybody should adhere to that way of thinking. I think other ways you can help out a quarterback other than getting him a receiver, but that's kind of the wave at the moment. And also, I'm talking he one of the best players in this draft, one of the most physically gifted, one of my favorite players. I think he's top 10 in the draft in general as far as talent is concerned. So pick him up there. Remember, that's the pick from Denver for Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously, they would give up some more capital, maybe some more draft picks, different things like that. But that won't be depicted in the draft as we are just doing the first round of our mock. So 10th pick, Jamison Williams. They need a weapon badly. Now, you got him a bookend tackle, the young quarterback. You got him a bookend tackle. Now you give him a weapon. That's that just makes when you have a quarterback in general and a guy you believe in, things like that. When you make moves like this, especially for younger guys, it just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. Makes them feel like you're investing in them, and that what this would show because they could use some help defensively and all those types of things. But I think there's a ton of free agents in the defensive backfield, the defensive line. You got J.C. Jackson out there, who I think they should make a play for. I think he fits their scheme. I think he'll be good for them. So, got some other things you can do defensively in free agency. Why not get you a weapon right here? He's available. Go ahead and get. Now, Ahmad Gardner going to Houston. Now, keep in mind, so far we have them taking Willis, and we have them taking Kyle Hamilton. Now they take Ahmad Gardner. They show up that defensive backfield. Like I said, Hamilton, I don't really know how he's going to fit into certain defenses, what position he's going to play at the next level. I can see him as his size. You would think he'd be more suited for the strong safety position, but I really see him as a free safety with his temperament. Also, I can also see him playing some rover. You know what I mean? So it depends on how can Houston figure out what they're going to do with him. Put a guy like Ahmad Gardner on the edge, you feel a little better. He shores up that defense. He gives you a little room to kind of figure out what it is exactly you think you might want to do with Kyle Hamilton. So Minnesota, Tyler Linderbaum would be a godsend. They really have not found a lot of success on that interior line. They've been looking for a while. Get a guy like Linderbaum ready to play now, and then they have depth. If he goes there, that automatically creates depth within some of the guys they got now who can play but are not quite there, so to speak. So that immediately becomes a very impactful pick right there for them. 13, Treylon Burks. He's physical, wide receiver. I was trying to debate between him and London right here. I couldn't, you know what I mean? I was going back and forth. I think the Browns will be able to will figure. They're very intelligent in how they use players. I think they'll know how to use Burks. I think they'll know how to utilize them, so on and so forth. I also think Atlanta Falcons should trade Matt Ryan to the Browns and have Baker Mayfield go to Atlanta. I think they'd just be better fits for both teams. I think they just really should just swap them out. Maybe a little compensation here and there, however they want to do it. Maybe a very late round, well, not very late round, but a late round pick for either guy, however they want to figure that out. But you get a guy like Burks, he has some versatility to your offense. Like I said, he can play a little running back. Certain schemes, he can give you a little chip black tight end action. But very good receiver. Makes physical plays. Can get past receivers a lot better than maybe he's getting credit for. So, and I like him better than I like London, at least for the Cleveland Browns. You got Drake London, 14. Now, they need offensive linemen, but Baltimore's been active as far as free agency and getting some offensive linemen on their roster here recently. And I suspect that they would do so here, especially after the combine and those types of things, once they kind of see. You get a guy like London, they need wide receiver help. Even though they have some decent wide receivers, they don't have really any guys that can really lock that position down. Drake London is really a perfect fit. He's not a guy who you need to throw a ton of balls to. He's more of a possession kind of receiver, and that's what they like. That's what type of receiver they like because they don't throw a whole lot. So when guys do get the ball, they expect him to do something with them. They got a burn in Hollywood, so get a guy like this on your roster, it kind of shores things up. Then they have Bateman from a year ago. I think Watkins, I think he's moving on, which he should. You have London, Watkins, and Hollywood. That's a nice receiving core you got right there. That's one you can really see yourself winning some games with. Devin Lloyd, George Karlaftis going to Philadelphia, show up their defense. Their defense is transitioning. They a lot of guys are getting older. A lot of guys are moving along. Show up that defensive line, get you a bookend. I like to say bookend the linebacker in the middle, old school general, guy who can do it. Guy bred and born to play the inside linebacker position. George Karlaftis is a workman. I see he's one of those guys. I like to say he's blue collar with white trim. He's a guy who has a very workman kind of way about his game, but can flash. Does some flashy things from time to time. Surprises you in that sense. Perfect for their scheme. Perfect for the type of guys they like. Moving along, we got L.A. Chargers. We got Trent McDuffie, natural nickel. They also got my guy Asante Samuel. Put him with Asante. Figure it out. Figure it out. Asante Samuel can start. Both of them will be considered starters. I mean, both of them. You know what I mean. So how you do it, the way you do it. Both are very good football players. Very good football players. Trent McDuffie a bit more of a tackler than a cover guy. Sante Samuel, a bit more of an athlete than a cover guy. Both can cover very well. That's what's so intriguing about that. Both can cover very well. Have other things that they maybe do a little bit better, but very good in coverage. Very good football players. That make for a mean defense. Guy they can get a guy like Trent McDuffie in that defensive backfield. Sam Howell going to New Orleans, new coach, new quarterback. I like the way Sam Howell throws the ball downfield. And you're coming into a new team, you don't know what kind of offense they're going to run. It's good to either have a very intelligent quarterback or a guy with a big arm. You know what I mean? Because with that, you can build around those things, and you don't know what kind of offense the coach is going to run. So in this case, there's not a whole lot of cerebral quarterbacks in that regards in this draft. You get a guy like Howell, bigger arm. I mean, his arm is not gigantic by any means, but comparatively speaking to the other quarterbacks, he's a cut above as far as arm strength than a lot of the other guys available. So you could go Cora here. It's just I don't know. I think with my guy that got there now from BYU, I think he can start. You know what I mean? And I don't see him. I can't see Coral beating him out. You know what I mean? I can see maybe Sam Howell offering him something different in that regards and being able to develop him. And those, but Coral, and I think Coral is better than other people give him credit for. I don't think he's that much better than what they have there now. So you're talking about fit, you're talking about those types of things. So I give the slight edge to Howell in that regards. Kobe Dean, listen, Philadelphia has went so many years without having any good linebackers. Why not get two in this draft? I had these two guys going here in my first mock, which was months back. Why not get two? You need the help. You need them. It's not like And then you're talking about also value right here. You know what I mean? You can't really beat that. So perfect pick for them in that regard. I think have him and Devin Lloyd and then have George Karlaftis on the edge. That's a problem. That's a problem. And Jalen Hurts, even though that he doesn't, you're not necessarily giving him any weapons. He looks at that draft and he's smiling because he knows, hey, listen, I'm getting into my rhythm. I'm getting the hang of this game. People don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I do. I think he can start. I think you can win. I think you can win the Super Bowl with him. I think you're gonna need good coaching, but I think you can do it. But yeah, get a guy like N'Kobe Dean show up there. Oh man, serious problem. Kenny Pickett stays in Pittsburgh. I also have Pittsburgh picking up a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. I think he'd be a nice fit for them. Develop a guy like Pickett. Pickett is more baller than anything else. He's tough. He's competitive. I like the competitor he is. His small hands do bother me though. I mean, they're very small. I mean, like they kind of look like the hands. If you ever watch Saturday Night Live and you saw Christian Wig with the baby arms, they kind of look like that holding the football. They small. They are little, and that does matter when you're playing quarterback. Other positions, no. I mean, it's not that important. Quarterback, it does matter quite a bit. It's the difference between uh, throwing it 5 more yards and throwing it 20 more yards. That's significant, whether people understand that or not. Andrew Booth to the Pats, very versatile piece. They'll know what to do with him. They'll figure it out. He's tough, very tough player. Not afraid to get his nose in there. Tackles like a safety, can cover like a corner. Offers a lot to a team. I mean, he's hard to pass up right here. They could go edge, but I just like his value at here for them, and he's also a need. So Jahan Dotson to Las Vegas. The more I put this in my other draft, I just like the fit. Dotson along with Carr, I think that just makes so much sense. Dotson is a jumpy kind of ball player. All of a sudden you don't see him for the whole game, and all of a sudden he burned his guy by about 10 yards. And he scored touchdowns. You know what I mean? So he's that kind of guy. He gives you that kind of look. He he's gonna run toward the end zone a lot. So kind of stretches the field for them in that regards. Playmaker in that regards. Could play some special teams too. I wouldn't be surprised if he played a little special teams as well. So Jahan Dotson, 22 to Las Vegas. Now Jordan Davis going to Arizona. I said this before in my other draft. I also had him going in my other draft. They need to get some stability there on the defensive line within their 3-4 scheme so they can figure out what they're going to do with these linebackers. Because if you're able to solidify that defensive line, the linebackers can more or less, they protect the linebackers. So the linebackers can more or less run around, find their game. You know, Arizona don't even know what they're going to do with these guys who have some talent. Zaven Collins, Simmons, these are talented guys. You got to find out what you're going to do. Are you going to I think Simmons fits the middle very well. Leave him there. But Zaven Collins, what are you going to do with him? And both need to be protected in order to make plays. So get a guy like this, Davis in the middle, best fit. You know, if Davis is not picked here, he could fall out of the first round. But I just think the fit is so fantastic to get a big nose tackle right there in the middle to kind of help everybody else get a little better. Everybody else kind of more or less orbit him, roam in and around him. I think it'd be a nice fit. Now, 24th pick, that is Dallas Cowboys pick. Now, a lot of people are not gonna like to hear this, but I'm gonna take it there. I think the Dallas Cowboys should trade Dak Prescott for Russell Wilson. Period. Point blank. I think the Seattle Seahawks would be interested in that. His contract is already solidified. If you're talking about Dak Prescott, I think Russell Wilson has another couple years on this deal. I think it's time for both teams to move on. Dak Prescott is not. He got to go. Simple point. Simple point blank. Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson are in a lot of ways the same exact player. The difference is Wilson is better. Wilson is just a better version of Dak Prescott. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys need. They need that extra edge that Wilson provides through his leadership, his ability to make plays without having to be coached into them. That those missing intangibles, which Dak Prescott has a lot of the same ones as Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson's is just better. So had Dak go over there to Seattle, and that would make a lot of sense to me. I think they'll be happy with Dak Prescott. They wouldn't fall too far from anything that they're not used to. And Dallas will finally get the quarterback we've been needing for a very long time. And I think both sides will be happy for it. Far as Russell Wilson playing with the Seattle Seahawks anymore, I think that's all but done. So I think that's a great idea. Y'all tell me what you think about that. Chris Olave, number 25. They need this style of receiver. He's a do everything type guy. Not gonna do anything great, but pretty good at everything. If he can get it, he could be a player for them for a while. No, not a whole lot of pressure on him to do anything too much at first. He'll be able to kind of find himself in the NFL, find out what he wants to do, fit a offense. He's what I call he's a thermometer. You know what I mean? Whatever your offense is, he's going to be that. He's going to mold to that. So if you have a bad offense, he's not going to be good in the bad offense. He doesn't have that kind of skill set. If you have a good offense, he's like a what's my guy there? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Beasley. I see him as a more athletic, athletically gifted version of Beasley. He's kind of that same kind of player. He's going to be that kind of guy who can have a big game for you one day and then he disappears. I think because of his athleticism, he'll have more consistency to his game. However, that's more or less how I see him. He's kind of like an upgrade from Beasley. So Jermaine Johnson, I think is the perfect pick for Tennessee. I don't know what the situation with Eli Harold is going to be. I think they're going to try to re-sign him. They're going to need a quarterback as well, but Jermaine Johnson to them is the perfect piece. I think it's the perfect piece. He's aggressive at the point of attack. He has their style of play. Good tackler, nice pass rusher. Just need all these guys. No matter what position they play, you come from college, you have to be the edges have to be kind of rounded out in a sense. But I think it's a match made in heaven in regards to player team. I really do believe that. Now, moving along, especially if they get Harold back, that's gonna be serious. Have him and Harold, that's gonna be wild. I don't know what they're gonna do with the inside linebacker situation, but they'll figure that out as they go. That wouldn't be a problem if something like that would happen. Excuse me for 1 second. All right. Kyer Elam, 27, Tampa Bay. A lot of those corners are moving along, and Bunting and Davis and those guys got a guy like Elam, stays in Florida. Very good man-to-man kind of cover corner. Athletic, talented. That's the word for him. He's talented. Needs to become a bit more of a willing tackler. He's not scared by any means, but needs to become a bit more of a tackler, particularly in Tampa Bay's defense. But he gets to stay home. I think it's a good situation for him in general. He has room there to grow, room there to play, good coaching. I think he'll get what he needs from that situation. Could go a lot of other ways here, but I think that's the best idea. Bernard Raymond going to Green Bay. This is their actual pick, 28, if they don't trade up, which by trading Aaron Rodgers, they'll get a pick higher than this along with this pick. But Bernard Raymond. So you got Garrett Wilson and Bernard Raymond. Help out Love. Make them feel better. That stuff, that matters, man. That matters. You start investing in these young quarterbacks. You drafted them, it's time to use them. No sense of trying to keep Aaron Rodgers around and trying to figure out what it just makes so much sense to go ahead and move on from Aaron Rodgers, free up the money. You can maybe re-sign some more of those pass rushers. I know they're gonna sign Gary, but maybe you can re-sign or find you some guys off free agency and work that like that. You know what I mean? So time to move on. Start investing in your young quarterback. Start to make it start to make a team of it. Better late than never. You're gonna have to. I mean, it's all but done. So don't really have no choice in the matter, and that's their doing. But it is so goes life. So Kenyon Green, interior line help for Miami, they need it badly, very badly. And I like when offensive linemen go to Miami. I think that they'll be developed very well there because of how well their defensive line does as far as talent and stuff is concerned. You don't know now with Flores going how that's going to work out the same way, but I really like the pick here, Green. A lot of people's draft Green fell out of the first round. I can see that happening as well, but right here, the value player, they really need it badly. Could go quarterback. You could go quarterback here if but I more or less like the free agent quarterbacks. I think I have let me see. Give me 1 second. I think I have this not Deshaun Watson. Jameis Winston going to Miami to be a backup for the time being. I think he could eventually start that. I'm not a big tour guy. I said this in my other drafts. Left-handed quarterbacks don't work out in the NFL. It will never happen. It's you have one with Steve Young, and that's it. It will never happen again. There's just too many moving parts, too many things involved in that it's just not gonna. Chances of that happening again is slim to none. So moving along, Devontae White, Kansas City needs to start showing up that defensive line. To me, it may not seem like it, but to me, that's always been an issue for them. The stability of because they'll have some good players there, but they need to start to get a bit more consistent on their defensive line, and they also need to get another defensive coordinator. It's time to move on from Spagnuolo. Their defense have always have been the worst in the league with so much talent on that team in general. Defense is always at the bottom of the list. Time to move on. He doesn't really offer a whole lot in that regards, and there's nothing particularly, uh, you know, effective about his scheme. He just had the normal basic set, and then when he tried to do anything exotic, it doesn't work out for him because he's not he's not built that way. So Devontae Wyatt show up their defensive line. Trevor Penning going 31 to Cincinnati. They need the offense. They don't offensive line. Period. They made the jump. Had Chase. Got Chase a year ago. Was best thing for him. They made a fantastic idea, but now you got to address the line. You got to keep the quarterback healthy, man. And that line this year was atrocious. So I don't care where they get it from, inside, outside. They just need to get as many as they can. They need to get the best players they can and as many as they can. And it don't stop with the draft, free agency. Because I do think they're going to have some other holes, defensive backfield, those types of things. They're going to have to show up. So Desmond Ridder at 32. Now, some people go Coral. Now, Coral falls out of my first round. I just think Desmond Ridder, if you're talking about far as his fit on Detroit, I think he offers you a different look. I think he offers you more athleticism in that regards. I don't really know what their plans with golf really is. His versatility allows for you to kind of figure some things out. They could make some trades in that regards, and maybe you know maybe trade golf and get another pick a little higher. Maybe they want to try to get Willis. They might trade up for something like that. Trade for another quarterback out there. You got Jimmy G, who I think I think Jimmy G. I think a good idea for Jimmy G would be to go to the Colts. And I give you some more of the rest of my trades. I have Aaron Rodgers going to Denver, Russell Wilson going to Dallas, switching with Prescott, Deshaun Watson going to Carolina, Marcus Mariota going to Washington. I think that'd be a great pick. I mean, for them, then you draft a guy. Maybe they move up to draft a guy. You got Coro available now in the second round, according to my draft. So maybe you trade up and get you a guy like Coro. That I mean, and then have a guy like Mariota, and you already got my man there now. So, that'd be a nice quarterback room. Like I said, Winston going to Miami, Bridgewater going to Pitt. And remember, they in my draft they also drafted Pickett, Jacoby Brissett going to Green Bay to back up Love, give them some depth there, some stability in that regard. Trubisky going to the New York Giants, Nick Foles getting traded to Houston. Remember Baker Mayfield going from Cleveland to Atlanta. Matt Ryan coming from Atlanta going to Cleveland. Just swap them on out. However you got to do it. Nothing too intricate. Just kind of make that happen more or less. Now that concludes my draft. If you wouldn't mind, like, share, and subscribe, be much appreciated. And I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for listening.